Welcome, my name is Doug Splinter and I'm CTO for Convergent. With the recent announcement of Microsoft Lync Server 2010, Microsoft has basically allowed us to take the lid off a few of the development initiatives we've been working on top of the platform. And so we thought we'd take this opportunity to showcase one of our applications. We're actually going to do a series of these, but today we're showcasing the Convergent Crew Dispatch solution built on top of Lync Server 2010, Exchange 2010, Silverlight, and some other technologies that we'll cover as we run through this. Again, Convergent, we're a Microsoft UC-focused company specializing in basically development and architecture surrounding the Microsoft Lync and Exchange 2010 platforms and some of the peripheral product offerings for it. What we're showing today is the Convergent Crew Dispatch. It's version 1.1. We had a previous one released for Office Communication Server 2007 R2. The 1.1 represents our sort of Lync-enabled version of it. It's an automated tool for assembling teams to respond to issues like down power line, storms, etc. And the goal is to replace time-consuming manual and labor-intensive tasks of calling down a list. You know, if you wanted to get 5 tech linemen to come in for responding to a down power line, people would literally sit there and everyone would grab a phone and start calling down. But there's contract rules as to how you have to call, and seniority and order and all sorts of rules as to how those calls need to happen. And so a lot of times these organizations will have time to even call other dispatchers, have them drive in and still keep calling on it. It can take up to an hour and a half sometimes to call the entire list and assemble several different crews, when really those are fairly simple transactions. It's calling up a couple of different numbers in order for a person. Can you make it, yes or no? And how quickly can you be in? And so again, public works, public utilities, anyone who's coordinating a large group of responders basically is a good candidate for the crew dispatch solution. We always like to talk about the technology recipe card, what's involved in the box. So Lync Server 2010, the release candidate, and the Unified Communications Managed API Software Development Kit components. So Lync Server and the software development platform on top of it. SQL Server 2008 is our database platform. Exchange 2010 and the web services for reading and calendar data. Server 2008 R2 is our OS platform. Forefront TMG to protect the solution and present it to the internet. And then Windows 7, IE8, and Silverlight. And of course, from us, Convergent, the Crew Dispatch version 1.1. Now, we're going to show 2 demonstration scenarios, and this presentation will kind of end and we'll cut over to some recorded video sequences. The first one is a small crew assembly, so I'm going to ask for like either a 1 or a 2-person crew with a mixed skill set, or I may just do a single skill. I'll see how who I have around when we're doing the demonstration portion of it. But basically we're saying, hey, we need to gather some people, and we'll kind of walk you through the UI and what it's like to use a unified communications tool to reach out and gather that assembly. And second, we're going to do a large crew assembly, if you will, a blast. What if I have a huge issue and I need to get 10 or 20 people in? What is it like, and how does the system handle that? So we're going to walk through those sort of use scenarios as our 2 demonstrations. And so without any further ado, I'm going to cut over to the demonstration side, and we'll catch you on the other side. All right, so we're going to begin with a brief tour and then go into demonstration 1, a small crew call-out scenario. I'm going to skate really quickly through the user experience. Announcements is where the users can configure default announcements. This is what, when they send out a crew dispatch, what text is going to get read. So normally a dispatcher, when they call you, would read some text. This is sort of the pre-canned versions of that, and they can obviously edit it on the fly and change it to whatever they want the people to hear about the dispatch event. The skills table says how many of each are part of the default crew dispatch. So in this case, we're always saying we need 1 crew lead, and then there's a weight to determine what order do we call them in. So if people have multiple skill sets, do we call them as a crew lead first and then a lineman? You get to have as many skill sets as you want and then sort them however you want. The schedule tab contains a list of all the people who are fixed on-call window. So if you're on call, you're sort of waiting in the truck. We track you, but we don't call you because you're already there or being managed by the dispatchers in a kind of a more integrated manner. The staff list is, and again, this is the dispatcher view of the crew dispatch system. So we give them just kind of a quick grid that sorts all the people and their phone numbers. A couple of boxes, things like skip their home number, do we call their home? Are they on a mandatory break or just flat gone until a certain period of time? Now, we're also diving into their Exchange calendar to check availability through web services. So if they're out of office, we won't call them, or if the skip until flag is set. And if we sort by active status, I'm just going to go ahead and drop this down so the active members come up top. And I've sort of sabotaged this. I'm the only active member in this database right now. But from the demonstration we did earlier today when we recorded kind of this big, massive call out during a staff meeting at Convergent, and you'll see that as part 2, you'll notice a bunch of people are out. And so these people are set as, on duty, and they've been on longer than the mandatory allowed window is. So we might choose to put them out by putting in a skip until, and they wouldn't get called. Or if during the response, if a user declined and said they were unavailable till a certain period of time, we set their skip until value based on their input. So a couple different ways for you to delay when you're going to get a phone call. Either dispatchers can do it, you can allow the users to do inputs on those sorts of things. So very flexible from that architecture. And again, I'm the only on-duty person, and note that I am a crew lead and alignment, but not a crane operator. All right. So we'll come back around to the Events tab, which is really where the dispatchers spend the majority of their time when they use the system. And we're going to go ahead and create a new crew callout. Now you can see a list of completed ones over here. Green is active, gray is completed, and red is failed. So what we're going to do is go ahead and do a new crew callout. And I'm going to say single crew lead needed for downline. All right, outage requires your response. Late night test, just so you can hear the actual text come in. Now, a couple of things. We can announce an ETA, tell the users, hey, this is when we need you. So we'll go ahead and pick that. And you can gather ETA. Now, gather ETA, basically, it'll require an ETA if I leave it checked, but it'll let users put an ETA in if I don't. So I'm going to uncheck. I'm not going to require the ETA, but we'll put one in just so people can see it. Notice the default: 1 crew lead, no linemen, no crane operators, but I could change the quantity on that. And again, demo 2, you'll see a larger volume call out. So we're going to go ahead and start the crew dispatch. Notice it comes back. It says single crew lead needed for downline is starting. It's going to monitor who it's attempting to call. It's calling Doug for crew lead. So I'm going to go ahead and go live on this here. I'm going to go over to the call activity results, hit answer, and go speakerphone.
An alert from the crew dispatch center. A response is required for the following incident. An outage requires your response late net test. Dial 1 to accept. Dial 2 to decline.
Okay, so it's waiting on my Nextel response. I'm going to go ahead and accept the call.
Dial 1 to accept. Please enter your estimated time of arrival in minutes.
Okay, I'll do 15. 13. Because I think I can be there even faster than what they're looking for me for.
You have been added to the response team. You will be called back shortly for further instructions or cancellations. Goodbye.
Okay, so the call is over, and if you can see on screen, it called. Answer on the mobile phone. Status is accepted. ETA 13 minute. The run ended at 11:02 p.m. for that particular call out activity. And so here's the crew lead. And then you notice on call activity result, we said they put 13 minutes in, but if you're a dispatcher, you really care about time. So we're actually showing the time of that person's arrival. Notice the actual call out event went from basically active to completed, and we have a historical record for future reporting. We can query the results of all the activities and produce whatever reports we need to. So that is a single person crew call-out event using the crew dispatch system. In part 2, we're going to produce kind of a high volume call-out scenario, and we'll basically head over and do that demo right now. All right, here we go. So we're just going to do a test of the Convergent crew dispatch system. We're currently on the main home screen with no active events, so we're going to create a new crew call-out event. This particular case, we're going to give it a description. We're just going to call it the Tuesday morning power outage. And we'll go ahead and put in a message that says, this is a Tuesday downline condition. All right. So we're going to go ahead and announce ETA. We're not going to request everyone because there's too many people in the room. We're going to tell everyone we want a 30-minute response time. And what we're going to do is we're going to crank up and ask for 10 crew leads out of the system. So the result of this action should be it actually starts up and concurrently calls 10 separate people. So we're going to go ahead and fire it off. So now if we come back over very quickly, we're going to go ahead and look to the staff list. And we'll sort by our active folks here who are with us this morning. So we have everybody in here, the cell phone numbers listed. These are all the active people on it. If we come back over to the event side, we should say here's our starting. And we're going to go to crew call out activity results and see what we get. All right, so meanwhile, the crew dispatch system is calling pretty much everyone in this room. So this is a crew dispatch event with all the people in the same room, and now we're seeing ourselves, the call results are starting to trickle in on screen, and it's waiting for a response. We have everybody answering and responding, and we should get live updates on the screen. We can see people have answered, and we're process of calling them and gathering ETAs and response from everyone. And then as we trickle in, we should start to see our results. We see it accepted, was on screen so far, and we'll have people start to come in. We've got accepts, more accepts coming in. People are giving ETAs for it. And again, because of the fact these are in a noisy environment, this is a touch tone response engine that we're recording this morning. And really what we wanted to show you more than anything else was watch every phone in this room kind of go off at the same time as we went ahead and came through. So you see a couple of people hung up, several people answered, some people declined, we have some people who have accepted, but basically what we're happening at this point in time is we've assembled our crew. We have a completed crew dispatch event. We come back over to the crew assembly side of the universe, and you can see who we've grabbed for crew leads, if they gave us an ETA, what their ETA is, and we've completed an assembly of a 10-person crew in less than 90 seconds.